everyone, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for tuning in to what's going to be a dupe or dud featuring some relatively new highlighters from the drugstore. These are the Milani Strobelight Instant Glow Powders. I have 3 shades and I mentioned these in a recent, the recent favorites video for February, so cat's kind of out of the bag that I like them, but as I was playing with them and comparing them to existing highlighters in my collection, we're getting up there, folks. There are so many highlighters out there, both drugstore and otherwise, but as I was playing around I realized these are dead ringers for existing higher end highlighters. So want to run through those today. So let's go ahead and get started. These guys retail for $10. I heard rumors that they were exclusive to Walmart. Honestly, I haven't seen them in drugstores yet. Once I heard they were out, I went straight to the Milani website and placed my order. In my favorites video, I said there were only 4 shades. That's a total lie. I don't know where I got 4 shades if I was planning to pick up 4. No idea. There are more. I believe there are 7 shades here. They retail for $10 a piece, and the 3 shades that I have are 1, 2, and 4. 1 is Afterglow, which is a soft pink pearlescent shade. Number 2 is Dayglow, which is a soft golden champagne. And then there is number 4, which is Glowing, and this is more of a bronze shimmer, or kind of borderline metallic. I took a risk picking this up, but it turns out this is more of a, it's very pigmented. These are all very buildable. It's part of why I love them. But as a result, this tends to be more of a blush topper for me. It's a little too deep to really show up like a highlight on my skin tone. It adds a little bit too pigment. So I think this is great for medium to deep skin tones as a true highlighter. But on fair to light skin tones like mine, you might find you are better off using this as a blush topper. You can also mix and match if you just want a hint of that bronze in any other highlighter you might be wearing that day. So first I want to talk about the strongest dupes because I was floored when I swatched these against each other. First up is number 4, that bronze shade, and I found this was most like the, not most like, identical to the golden bronze shade in the Anastasia Glow Kit of all things. This guy retails for $40. You get 4 shades inside. The size of the pans are comparable, but you do get a little bit more in Milani, so even though you divide it up and, you know, in theory it's $10 for one of these palettes, you're still getting more product per pan in the Milani, so it's still a better deal in that way. Plus, if like me, you know, when I first picked this up, I found that these shades were really the best for me and that I didn't get as much good out of the golden bronze unless I mixed it with the others. This creates the opportunity to pick up a single highlighter rather than buying, you know, all 4 shades and having 1 or more go to waste. So yeah, right off the bat, you take a look at these 2 side by side and it's just identical. The Anastasia formula is beautiful, very soft and creamy, similar to the Milani. I mean, really, when it comes down to even the finest detail, like whether it's not grit level, but like how fine each of these are milled, identical. The undertones here, you'll see in the next one I'm about to talk about, there are some, when worn, it's really not at all apparent, but in the swatch, there are definitely some differences. Not even in the swatch can I tell these apart. So dead ringer, save yourself some money if this is the only shade you're interested in this palette and go pick up the Milani. Next up is shade number 2 from Milani, and once again from the Anastasia Glow Kit, very, very similar to Bubbly. Kind of almost similar to Dripping Gold because honestly these 2 are very similar within this palette. I use them interchangeably in looks, although like I said, in swatches you can tell a difference when swatched. The same goes for the number 2 Dayglow from Milani, but for all practical purposes, when worn, it is identical. There are some undertone differences. One is a little bit more golden, some are a little less pigmented, more frosted champagne, but when worn, they're all the same. Same thing goes here with how finely milled each of these powders are. They really are very, very similar both when swatched and worn, so I wouldn't expect one to be, you know, grittier or have larger chunks of shimmer and one be more finely milled. They really just look super similar when worn. I also looked to another older favorite, Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in Opal. Used to just love, love, love this thing. And again, super, super similar in terms of color. I would say the Becca is a little bit more bronzy frosty, whereas the Milani is a little bit more golden. There may very well be a shade in the Milani line that better dupes the Becca Opal, but I would have to say these are pretty stinking close. Again, you can tell the differences in the swatches, I think, but if I were to glance at someone wearing one versus the other, I would not be able to tell the difference. I am just speaking for myself though. You know, maybe I don't have a trained eye, but I would say for all practical purposes, You could get away with using one or the other. And finally, this is one that I just wasn't able to find a solid dupe for. I found a similar shade, but it is in no way a dupe in texture or the way it visibly looks on the skin. This, the number 1 or Afterglow powder, is similar in color only to the Hourglass Ambient Strobe Lighting Powder in Iridescent Strobe Light. I think it might just be Iridescent, or maybe that's the whole shade, Iridescent Strobe Light. Either way, like I said, very similar in color, but the Hourglass are more powdery. I would say that they disperse on the cheeks to be more glittery even, whereas by comparison, even though when I was comparing this to the Make Up Forever highlighter in my favorites, this is far less metallic. By comparison to the Hourglass, this is way more metallic and has more finely milled shimmer, and because it has more of a creamy base texture to it, it's more built up to something like this rather than dispersed more easily as kind of a diffused powder like the Hourglass. So really no dupe here, because even though the colors are similar, just the effect they give when applied, totally different, but still something to consider if you like the overall shade of this one. So those are all the dupes or similar products I could find to those Milani powders. I'm sure there are quite a few others out there. I just either don't have them in my collection or I didn't think to compare the two as I was going through. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful for you. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.